Hey, Tessa here from Green Angel, making these videos to hopefully make sustainable living more easier, budget-friendly, accessible and time-efficient for you. And in this video, I'd like to talk about how coffee and tea addicts can also go zero waste or live more sustainably without having to give up on their morning brews. And this is a big one for me because I love my teas. I really love drinking tea and it's such a big part of my life and I just don't want to give it up. And that's why I think talking about how we can still drink coffee and tea every day but in a more sustainable way is very important, because I think all of you also drink this on a daily basis at least, and definitely as well coffee is such a coffee culture that we have in the world these days. So I'm going to start with tea first of all, and you might be shocked to hear this, but the tea bags you buy has plastic in them as well. If you just buy standard tea bags from the store, the linings of those tea bags have plastic in them, and that's of course non-recyclable and non-reusable. It's not only bad for the environment, but it's also quite bad for you. If you think about that, you put plastic in your drinks and in boiling water, and then it might dissolve into the tea. It's very microplastics, but it's still quite unhealthy for you as well. So the best thing to do is avoid tea bags and buy your own loose leaf tea. And then and this is just a small change, just get a tea strainer and put in your own loose leaf tea when you're making your own tea. Or you can also make your own reusable tea bags from a little, I don't know, sewing project or something, and put the tea in those reusable tea bags and refill them once they're empty. Of course, if you really don't have time for this, or you really don't like loose leaf tea, or it's not something you want to look into right away, then try finding tea brands with reusable tea bags. I'm sure if you do some research, there are definitely some out there. Try using those, and then maybe if you compost, you can compost the tea bags away after your use, or at least throw them away, but then they won't have plastic in them. It's not only better for the environment, but also much better for your health. What you can also do is grow your own tea if you're into having a little gardening project. All you need for that is a big container. You put some stones on the bottom, then you fill it with some soil, and you fill it with the seeds of your favorite types of teas. So this could be anything from rose to peppermint to lavender to calendula to basil to stevia, all the things that you like in your tea. And this can be very personalized and just make your own leaves. And then how you can go about making your own tea is just taking the leaves out of these plants and putting it in your tea, and that's actually the most fresh and most healthiest tea you can get because it's from your own garden. Or you can even go a step further and dry the tea leaves in the sun outside and then crush them up and put them in your tea strainer. So these are two ways that you can take a step further, and if you're into having a fun gardening project, then this could be something great that you could do. Now moving on to coffee. Coffee is actually quite bad for the environment right now because so many trees are being cut away to make these massive coffee plantations, and we're losing a lot of biodiversity because of all these coffee plantations that are coming up. And because of the lost biodiversity, there's also not the plants anymore to kind of save, to send the insects away from the coffee. So they use a lot of pesticides. So these are causing quite some problems. So the best way to go about this is obviously to reduce, recycle, reuse, recycle, compost. And with reduce, I mean just reduce your coffee consumption. Maybe if you have 3 cups a day, try moving it down to 1 or 2. That's one way to quickly reduce the amount you drink. A second way, if you really can't reduce your coffee consumption, is to reuse. So here I'm talking about kind of getting loose, like kind of going to stores and finding loose, like the coffee, loose coffee, instead of getting them in those capsules, because those capsules are a lot of plastic as well. Try getting the loose coffee instead. And then once you have those, maybe find a coffee machine that you can have reusable coffee filters in them, and you just reuse those. You put the loose coffee inside, and you reuse those filters. Again, you can buy those reusable filters or make them from like scrap cloth or anything. And then, or you can also recycle, and with this I mean getting recyclable coffee pads that work well and that don't have plastic in them, and just recycle them over again. And then if you are into composting, try maybe getting coffee pads that have no plastic in them at all, and composting those coffee pads after you've used them. So that's another really great way. And of course, try buying organically grown coffee if you can. That does make a difference. But the biggest difference also is made if you just buy kind of the simple coffee, the simple loose coffee instead. So I hope these tips have helped you. I just found them so interesting when I read them in this book, A Guide to Almost Zero Waste Living, and I wanted to share them with you guys. I hope you liked this video, and see you in the next one.